We just heard the robo voice announcing that the recording is in progress. So welcome to the January 2025 edition of Recordando, a monthly gathering of poets and writers and thinkers on a specific theme, which we can deviate from or, you know, move towards however we like. It's basically an opportunity to meet virtually with some really rad people from wherever they hail from and be warmly together in conversation and poetic expression. I just invited us to start reading work. If any of you want to begin, I'm happy to welcome us into this part of the conversation. I do have some things piled up behind me. I'm feeling like reading work by others. Um, but I didn't want to do that quite yet. Lorraine, do you have one
I
for us or Patricia?
I have something, but it's not related to David Lynch, so I'll let others if they have that.
Oh,
I
by
have
Lynchian Pursuits in my brain yesterday, I was thinking moving in a direction that's non-conventional, non-traditional, aberrant, deviant, frisky, wild, and incomprehensible in, in our youthful vigor or, in your literary expression. However, you want to apply that. So most anything will relate. I mean, we have a way to justify
Well,
what we do.
okay, I'll read this. It's brand new. I guess if I'm gonna think about it in the way that you said it. One of the things I remember, I mean, you called me an old soul, but when I was 14-ish, whenever Twin Peaks came out, I remember watching it when my mom would be gone overnight, and so I'd watch Twin Peaks. And so this poem has nothing to do with that, except that I remember being overstimulated by it. Because there was just so much that was happening that it just felt like I was getting like all these sensations from all sides. So, this poem is about senses, if that's okay. I pulled it up before we got here. So this one is just called Making Sense of September. So I'll go ahead and start. Making Sense of September. Picking piñons in September sounded like the smashing pumpkins on your phone, felt like the resin on my palms, smelled like the needles in my hair, looked like your blue hoodie hanging on barbed wire, and tasted like two apricots you picked from the neighbor's tree. So that's it, just all the senses.
I love it.
Very cool. I can share one.
All the synapses on fire.
Let's see. Here it is. This is Tell Me a Story. To give it a bit of context,
Hmm.
I wrote it on a trip across the Atacama Desert going from Argentina to Chile.
Wow.
Who sat in that yellow stool in the middle of the snowman's land? What has that plastic bag seen in its journeys skipping across these rough Atacama sands around the base of cinder cones, changing course with the capricious wind? Where has the owner of that blue tennis shoe on the lonesome highway wandered off to?
Did you refer to this desert a month or two ago, Lorraine? Kind of a desolate area you've been to?
I don't know. I've been to a lot of deserts.
Okay, okay. Wow. Thank you for that piece. The unanswered questions.
Now tell me a story.
I'm very stoked about the Chileno desert. I can't remember the name of where it's at. That has sprouted beautifully and miraculously sprouted a bunch of wildflowers because they've had a lot of rain recently.
That's the Atacama Desert. And it's
Yes, yes.
happening
How do you spell that?
Atacama. Atacama.
Atamaka?
Atacama.
Atacama. Yeah, yeah. I've seen the word. Yeah, that's the one. And this is the desert that you just wrote about?
Uh-huh.
Okay.
It
So were
it's
there
actually blooming more and more frequently because the climate's changing.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And so um yeah, there's more frequent rains now because the ocean currents are all messed up.
Yeah, I've been saving links to articles about it. It's kind of like a pet. It's like a pet to me. I care about it like a pet. Like, oh,
Mhm.
little desert, you're growing flowers. Let me check on you. Um, and I've seen images and it's pleasant, makes me happy to see, but like you just said, it's not normal and maybe I should pause with concern. But
It's a really interesting place. And you know how many people had died on those sands because the region of modern day modern Chile was full of nitrate mines. And so people would walk across the deserts looking for work in the mines. And, you know, there's no way of knowing how many people died on that journey. And and I was working on the guidebook for Chile. I wanted to get to Pisagua, which was in its day, a very important and rich port for the exportation of the nitrates. It was so rich that they imported timber from Oregon to build the church and the theater, the concert hall, and a bunch of other public buildings. And it has a bell tower, a real short bell tower on the side of the cliff that supposedly is an Eiffel construction. But Pisagua is mentioned in several Pablo Neruda's poems. It's in the Canto General, because in the 40s, when there was a witch hunt on the communists, a bunch of his friends were rounded up and shipped to Pisagua, where there was torture camps and concentration camps. Neruda barely made it out of Chile. He went down into the Lakes District in the southern part of the country and hid out. And in the middle of winter, rode, did horseback across the Andes into Argentina to escape the dragnet on the communists. And that's how, and he smuggled out Canto General. He was working on Canto General at that time. So, anyways, Pisagua has a very strange um, reputation of at least 11 times in the 20th century. It was a place of concentration camps for different social groups, not only communists and socialists, but also um, homosexuals and everything. And what was the police station? Um, they later on made it into a hotel. I can't, of course, it didn't last as a hotel, but
Wow.
anyways. So I wanted to find out how to get to Pisawa, and nobody knew how to get to Pisawa. Yeah, I was in Iquique, which is a major city to the south, and I ended up going on a tour of senior citizens to get to Pisawa. And then, of course, once I got to Pisawa, I found out how to get to Pisawa with public transportation, but it is a very strange town. And so it's about 30 kilometers off of the highway. And the there was somebody hitchhiking, and the bus driver took a bottle of urine and threw it out the door at the person. And we're like, what the heck are you doing? He said, the desert is full of ghosts of the people who died over the centuries. And so we always keep bottles of urine to throw at the ghosts. She turned out not to be a ghost. She finally ended up in Pisawa and we got to meet her. But yeah,
And give her
and
an
she had to go back
apology. What
right
what was
back
that
with her.
supposed to what is throwing urine on a ghost supposed to accomplish?
I have no idea. That's their custom. But yeah, it's a town. It's an area that's just like full of ghosts. They say, and with the history of the with the mines and people going for the mines, and then the torture camps, and in Iquique there was a huge massacre of miners and their families who were on strike. So there's like it's an area that's really charged with.
Yeah, a lot of darkness seems like.
I'm going to share something on my blog. I have a article that I wrote about that, because somebody was asking me one time about the Atacama Desert and the history. And so, anyways,
Is that showing up for you, Lorraine? The
I'm trying to call it up. My connection's a bit slow tonight.
I think I
It's
already set.
raining, so
Oh,
that
I think I set
affected.
it so that anybody could share the screen already. Let me see. I'll double check. Oh no, I hadn't. Okay, now I have.
Beautiful that it's raining. It's been so dry here.
Oh, it'd been so dry here that the hydroelectric plants couldn't operate because the
Oh,
reservoirs are too low.
wow.
And so we went through like over 3 months of power rationing.
Wow.
Here in Texas, we heard there might be some what do they call it, rolling blackouts here
Mhm.
because we're part of the polar vortex.
Oh, is
Yeah,
that snow
so
or is it cold? Which
it's
or
cold
both?
air. It's rolling in now, so I went and made a little, reinforced the feral cat shelter that I'd
Right.
made a few weeks ago because we had another polar snap like 2 weeks ago, and this is not usual to have two in the space of 30 days. So it's going to
Mhm.
be really cold, like lows in the teens in the morning. But yes, are you are you working it out, Lorraine, or do you
No,
still want to
I
share?
just pasted the link in the
Oh, okay.
comments so you guys can just take a look at it whenever you
Thank you.
want.
Thank
Thank you.
you.
Oh, Atacama Spirits. When did you write that piece? Oh, there it is,
Um,
2015. Yeah, I see it. The date that you published it anyway. Ooh, yeah, this is great because I'm growing fascinated with that area. So I'm appreciating your story and the link. Thank you.
I've got some, I've been reading poetry as sort of a spur to write poetry. And, 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 uh, and the whole idea of being inspired by somebody else's writing, yeah, I find interesting. And the, there's a quotation from Jorge Luis Borges. Um, we forget that we are all dead men conversing with dead men. This is the tie into your theme. And from that, Naomi Shihab Nye wrote a poem called Making a Fist. And her poem was for the first time on the road north of Tampico, I felt the life sliding out of me. A drum in the desert, harder and harder to hear. I was 7. I lay in the car watching palm trees swirl, a sickening pattern past the glass. My stomach was a melon split wide inside my skin. How do you know if you're going to die? I begged my mother. We had been traveling for days. With strange confidence, she answered, when you can no longer make a fist. Years later, I smile to think of that journey, the borders we must cross separately, stamped with our unanswerable woes. I, who did not die, who am still living, still lying in the back seat behind all my questions, clenching and opening one small hand.
Wow.
And today, referring to that poem, I Who Did Not Die, Making a Fist, Rosemary Watola Trummer wrote one called I Who Did Not Die That Day. I who did not die that day also died, not all of me, but part of me, the part who believed I could change things beyond my control, the part who believed any of us can save someone who does not want to be saved. What a terrible freedom to know what I cannot do. The part who did not die is the part who loves, loves what was, loves what is now, loves as long as I am able to love. The part who did not die is the part who still thrills to see the twitchy-nosed bunny streak across the grass and the near full moon that bathes me in cold blue light. The part who still lives is not afraid to grieve and lets herself be turned toward fear and learns to meet even heartache with wonder. Like a tree, I grow from the soil of all I have lost. I who did not die that day am still being taught how to touch the wound and let myself be sung by the part still wildly alive. And my poem's going to be from that, but I don't have it ready to present. It's the, I got caught by the tree imagery again.
But it's beautiful. Yeah.
That's a stunning progression from the Borges quote to the poem you just read with Naomi's in between. Do you
Mhm.
mind, Jeffrey, typing the that last poet's name? Because I don't think I've heard of her before, and I want to look up that piece.
She's
Or is she another kind of writer?
no, she's her most recent book. Um, I will put it in here, but it is called Unfolding. And all of the poems in it were written since 2021. In 2021, her father died of cancer, and her son committed suicide. And so that this poem is one that she just wrote. Um, I subscribe to her Substack, and she writes a poem a day and puts it in the Substack. This was today's poem, so it hasn't been published in a book yet. But her name's Rosemary, Merry, which is. Let me get here.
I'm intentionally not saying very much because I'm trying to make it a practice to not immediately start chatting when there's work that's been presented that I don't want to lead the charge to run away from the poem or leave it behind or push it down.
Yeah, I'm gonna type her name in. You said there's a Substack?
Yeah.
Is she based in North America?
Yes, she is. I'm not sure exactly where.
Okay,
Um,
that's fine. I can look
although
later.
I can. This is her book, The Unfolding.
Okay.
It says she's from Colorado.
Yeah, that's right. She's from Colorado. Western Colorado, near Telluride, I think. Southwest. And I was reading this when I discovered that my niece, who's the same age as my daughter, had died suddenly. And the some of the poems directly directly expressed how I was feeling at the time.
Yeah, I feel I'm feeling these poems walking with me too right now. Um, there's a local poet who's a friend of mine, and he just lost a son because of a tragic car accident, and he was very young. He just graduated from high school a few months ago. But my friend's other son, um, how they say, unalived himself uh,
Mm.
about 2 years ago. So my heart's really heavy thinking of my friend Austin, who's a poet here. And oh gosh, yeah, I haven't had a chance to see him, but kind of lifting him up in my thoughts right now.
Everybody's got their cats visiting
I
and
know.
joining in.
This one
And
kind of gets what she wants. She's 17,
Oh, she's
but
beautiful.
consistent. Her name's Cleofas Jaramillo.
Oh, I think we heard that before. Cleophas Aramillo.
Yeah.
You have men in your family, Jaramillo, right?
I actually do, but she's named after a writer from northern New Mexico at the
Okay.
turn of this century. Um, so yeah, I named Cleophas when I was writing about that writer, but yeah, I do have Jaramillos in my family as well.
I remember that.
And what's yours called, Jeff?
This is Aristotle.
Aw,
And he's like an alarm clock for my Zoom. He, he he usually comes right at the beginning of a Zoom call, and then when I after I've ignored him for a little while, he leaves, but he always comes back exactly an hour and a half after I've started the Zoom call. Hour and a half, that's enough. Time to go.
He needs a
but
bio break.
but it hasn't been an hour and a half.
No, no. Yeah, he's off his schedule here. I had been sitting here a little while. And gave him a good thorough brushing
nice.
before we started. So, but he ignores me. He sits there with his back.
Oh gosh.
Oh, check it out. He's not playing around.
Yeah, that's the equivalent of turning off your camera. Just turn around. Hey, I want to share something that I've been trying just for the last 2 or 3 days. Someone online shared that if you type, let's say you want to do a Google search and you type whatever the terms are, whatever the search term is, type that, but then follow it with minus AI, and it will conduct the search without using AI. And I have tested it where I was, let's say I typed David Lynch and then hit search, and then some diff things, results would come up. But then if I did David Lynch minus AI, it was different, without so much bling and images, and it was
Mhm.
more kind of just text oriented. And without that part that we're starting to see a lot, where it says AI generated whatever, like kind of a, I guess it's supposed to be a special gift, but some of us don't want that. So anyway, you might try that. Try using that if you use
I
Google
was just reading
for searching.
yesterday that um,
Had you heard of that,
in
Lorraine?
2023, over 37% of jobs were replaced by AI, and they were expecting in 2024 another 44% to be hit.
You said 23% in 2023?
No, 37%
Wow.
Nationwide, internationally, what's
in
this
the US.
in the US?
Mhm.
Those are the figures for the US. And I know that I and a lot of other people who are freelancers and editing, proofreading, translating, we've just been really hit. Some of us have had, or a lot of us have had lost up to 90% of our gigs.
Yeah, Richard, who frequents these gatherings, also has not had much work, um, as a person who does naming. Um,
Mhm.
yeah.
Yeah. Somebody came to a presentation. She was a professor, I think, at UNM, and she was talking about the environmental impact of AI, which I know nothing about, but she was talking about the amount of water it
Hmm.
uses. And that just sounded insane. It sounded awful.
And the amount of electricity to not only generate but also to store the data
Hmm.
and several of the developers have reportedly checked into building nuclear, asking for nuclear plants to be built, give them licenses to build nuclear plants in order to keep their data storage facilities powered up.
Yeah, what's the one in Pennsylvania? I think Microsoft is looking into getting that back up
That's one
online.
of them.
3 Mile Island,
Wow.
I guess. Yeah, the person who shared about the minus AI trick said, yeah, for those of us who don't want to do trivial searches and have AI generate results, which is the equivalent of emptying out
Mm-hmm.
one bottle of water on the ground. Yeah, if you don't want that to happen, yeah, try the minus AI. I just can't believe that this wasn't a better considered option for folks rather than it just kind of just showing up and now it's in our lives. It's
Yeah.
pretty ubiquitous already in less than 2 years.
Call it out, call it out, call it out. There's a group in Facebook called Artists Against AI or something like that. And recently, several people have shared success stories of where they have called people's attention to the effects of AI and they've stopped using AI and have begun hiring real artists. So, like if you speak up and you present the arguments, it's irritating when people still support AI, but ethically, there is no way you can support AI. The stealing of people's works without permission, without recompense, in order to build these databases. And the environmental impact and the quality of it. There was just another study I was reading that people do not trust products that are advertised with AI generated advertisements. And so, maybe people are going to begin waking up that AI isn't a very smart choice if you've got a product to sell or a service to sell.
That's like a lot of the, apparently insurance companies, medical insurance companies are using AI to screen whether to deny coverage on things, and it gets it wrong about 90% of the time, but most people don't know that they should challenge it and ask, you know, for the credentials of the doctor who denied
Right.
the coverage, um, which then forces them to go back and look at your document. And that's,
Well,
I mean, I haven't had anything done to me medically since before COVID. And the AI taking over all this has been since then. So it's nice, nice to know that in the future I should, anticipate having things denied. Never had anything denied so far.
Yeah, my mom had her rehab stay denied after having the aneurysm surgery last month. Yeah, that's a mystery to us, and so we're having to pursue,
Mm-hmm.
doing um, pleading our case basically. Um, I'm just really also very, very concerned about, 12 and 13-year-old kids using AI to, you know, not even schoolwork, but like, hey, what would I look like if I was Jennifer Aniston's daughter? Like, just trivial bullshit.
You know what's crazy? I've been seeing it on, I guess it was TikTok, um, like advice. And there's I mean, there's AI for everything, but like when you want to break up with somebody or you want to tell somebody how you feel about them, there you can actually type it in like how to tell somebody I love them. And I'm like, whoa, that's oh, that's like that's like another level of like we're gonna be set with people without any skill sets, without any like why would you Google that? Like that would never even occur to me, but it happened, so I don't know. I can't even imagine what AI would come up with, but whatever.
Yeah, but I'm also thinking, and this is could be, I just see it playing out like a theatrical or cinematic episode or scene, of just people all reading the same result and
Hmm.
all expressing that sentiment exactly the same way with no deviation, no personal
Hmm.
character to it. Um,
Hmm.
I yeah, that's that's freaky to me. That's Lynchian. That's, to me, uh when you look at the robotic, it seemed like a robotic little bird in the Blue Velvet movie.
Hmm.
And it's in the last scene, especially when three of the main characters are looking at this bird through the kitchen window. And it's so fake. It's so robotic looking. And yet was Kyle MacLachlan and Laura Dern and whoever played her mom, I guess. They're just like, ooh, look. Oh, it's such a tender moment. Oh, come here. Oh, we're so lucky we get to see. I'm like, it's a freaking robotic bird. Like, you don't even know the difference between a real bird and this thing, which looked like a
Hmm.
CGI bird. And, and that's deliberate, that was produced to look that way. And is it going to be beyond our
Mhm.
capacity to be able to tell a real wind-up animal
Hmm.
from the real thing in the future because of our disconnection from nature and the natural world?
Hmm.
That's
I'll
I
tell you,
worry
when I
about
see
that a
it,
lot because if we don't know how to take care of ourselves and be real with each other, much how ineffective are we going to be interacting with the natural world and its, all the creatures who
Hmm.
they don't
when
need
I,
us, they don't depend on us, but they sure do depend on us not destroying their habitats. You know,
Hmm.
their air is our air.
when I see an AI generated image, I just have such a visceral response from the second I see it. And the same thing with voices, the AI generated voices that supposedly sound so human because I can do inflections.
Hmm.
And it's like, you can't fool me. That is not a real voice.
Yeah.
And people who think that it's real, it's like, take a look at that picture. That woman has 7 fingers. That's not a
Yeah.
real photo. But what's really concerning is the deep fakes.
Hmm.
Mhm.
Were any of you on TikTok?
Not officially. I would just see like
Yeah.
third party, shares on
Yeah.
Facebook or Instagram. That's all I ever did.
You didn't do videos? Did anybody in here do videos?
No.
It was crazy. I did them a lot, and it filters your face for you, or it touches up your face for you. So, and not in any way that's like super unsubtle. I mean, it's subtle, but like every time I do one, I'd be like, I look nothing like this. Like my skin is not this smooth. Like I have these wrinkles that aren't showing up. And that wasn't even something that I asked for or that I did. It was just automatically doing it. And I just keep thinking like what people's perceptions of themselves are going to be like as they move forward. Like what are people going to perceive of aging and as they get older and how things change when you have control of filters.
Yeah.
Um, it's something that's strange.
Did
Yeah,
you
I've
have
got
a chance to opt out of that, Patricia?
No, you can't.
You can't opt
It's like
out.
the default.
Ooh,
Mhm.
ooh, I don't like that. Mm,
I mean, people are using that for passport pictures, and
mm.
then they're not being recognized as their picture in the they don't even think about.
Yeah.
You know, my Zoom has this uh, compos AI companion down on the
Mm-hmm.
bottom, which I have not even clicked
Yeah, I
on.
don't touch it either.
Oh, I don't even
Because
know what that is. Yeah.
Well, because I have no idea what it might do, but I don't want to know either.
Oh,
I don't want to have it doing it without me knowing it.
Yeah,
What
it's very strange.
what you were saying earlier about having somebody, you know, uh, expressing love for you on, through AIs, we got to make everybody watch Cyrano de Bergerac. The 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 effects of having having somebody else expressing how you feel about somebody.
Right? Well, when I was working at the History Museum, I had never used AI ever. And she was the contractor. She's really young. She was 21. um she suggested like just she wanted me to see like how AI worked and she was like just type it in and I had never ever ever used it. And in my head, I don't know what I thought it would look like, but they had asked me to write a lesson plan for the Chicano civil rights movement, right? So I went ahead and I was like just gonna be like, I mean, I knew I had my own way of thinking about it, but I typed it in just to see, and it was crazy within seconds. I would say even less than a second, but within seconds. It had a whole lesson plan that included quote unquote all the hits. So it's like Cesar Chavez and like, Dolores Huerta and all that. But there was a way where I'm like, okay, but who they did not have on there, right, is where like I would be able to say, well, if a student turned in a paper or if, something like you couldn't find it was Reyes Lopez Tejerina, which in New Mexico, right? It's like
Right.
land grant thing is a big deal. And so I was like, they didn't have anything about him. And I'm like, so if that's what I teach and I get a paper back that's about the Chicano civil rights movement and it doesn't have his name anywhere in it, then I'm like, okay, there's a little, like what do you call it? Like a little flaw in the system. But it's crazy. The other thing I did that day, because that was literally a jaw drop moment, is I asked AI to write a paper about me. And I haven't done anything, like zero. And it was like, Patricia Perea is from New Mexico, blah, 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 blah. And I was just like, wow, okay. It was like the most general thing. But I could see a student producing it, and it just gathers up like all the little facts that are about you on the internet, and puts it into a paper. Um, so it was weird. It was so weird.
I asked it to generate a bio for me. I mean, not for me. I just want to
Mhm.
see what it would say. Like, who is Tammy Gomez or what is Tammy Gomez bio? And of course, it scoured the whole internet in half a second and it spit out about three paragraphs. And I would say about 75% was accurate. But it also said that I had won some major award, like, I don't know, it wasn't the Nobel Prize, but it was like the a Pulitzer or something. And I'm like, no way. Like, where did that come from? And hell, if I'm gonna share this out with anybody, and I do remember, I get really, really
It's
upset.
predicting the future.
Yeah, great. Well, then I better get busy. Um, so I really, really get upset when I'm misrepresented in articles and stuff. So
Yeah.
there's a writer who edited a collection I'm in of Texas Latine writers. And I'd sent my bio in, and it was one of those situations where it took, a number of years to actually get the book done. It was like 5 years or yeah, maybe at least 4 years. And so I'd sent in a bio, and there were a lot of folks in this anthology, and I know it was a big effort to get everything together. And so the editor's son was hired to assist. And so that son reached out to me asking for a bio. And I pretty much said, same bio as before, and here it is again. Okay, so I thought all that was like set in stone, everything good. And then the book comes out. You flip to your section because you want to see, oh, my piece is in
Mhm.
in print here. And the bio, oh my gosh, it said Tammy Gomez enjoys playing guitar and like, where did that come from? I never sent that. Neither of the times that I sent my bio did I make up bullshit. And that's bullshit. I mean, I have a guitar over here. I took a few lessons. I don't play guitar. And I was so upset. So I went up to the editor at this open reading and I said, look at this. Why does this say this? He goes, well, don't you want people thinking you play guitar? That's a cool thing. And I'm like, am I like hearing correctly? Like you're trying to, justify this falsehood and he's like spinning it. So I was like, you're not sexy enough. So now we made you more sexy. You play guitar. And I thought, oh my gosh. So this is and that's happened in another situation too, where I was like, I even wrote a letter to the editor of that publication saying, you've got to change this because they had
Right.
referred to my parents as Mexican, like, that they moved here from Mexico, and that's incorrect. And they never changed it. I never heard from them.
Wow.
So yeah, I mean, but the very few instances like that have happened that are human, caused. And now with AI, we're gonna not know if anything's true or correct. And
Mhm.
fact checking is a thing of the past with some platforms.
I recently discovered that somebody had written their thesis on women of color who write travel narratives. And she mentioned several women who were in a collection of travel narratives that Seal Press put out back in the early 2000s.
Which press?
And I have no idea why she has me as a woman of color.
Hmm.
Maybe because my story is about traveling in Mexico.
Yeah, and I mean they could look at it as your last name's ambiguous, perhaps. I don't know.
Yeah, that would have been my reasoning.
Hmm.
But yeah, that's something you can't assume, you know?
Yeah.
You really can't. What publication, what press was that, Lorraine?
Well, I mean, the she if she had done her thesis, but several of the other writers that she mentions um, were in that anthology with me. Tales from the Open Road, that was published by Seal Press. We were together in that.
Like I'm not understanding the word that you're saying. Theo Press?
Seal, as an orp.
Like that?
Deal.
Steel. Okay. Steel. Okay, got it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they're notable. They shouldn't.
But I mean, this is her dissertation or thesis um uh for her master's or whatever at a
Hmm.
university.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I have no idea how she thought that I was a woman of color. Oh, I know how I found that.
Um, I'm gonna read a piece that's titled Mexico Antonio, and it's about and I don't usually like to tell what it's about before I read it, but I was at a cantina here in Fort Worth, North Texas, and it was called Recuerdos de Kansas, and I that made me laugh so much. And it was a like a pool hall that had a small bar and a small dance floor, and the music was I think it was a DJ playing like norteño, and maybe it was quebradita music, which was kind of big at that time. Um, so in reading, I mean, the reason I want to read this piece tonight is because I'm thinking about and owning up that I present as Latina, Tejana, Chicana, but inside I've got, everything from, disco to punk to David Lynch to, just Hal Hartley and um, Anna Eastnin. I just don't, on the inside, I don't present as a conventional middle-aged brown woman with Mexican ancestry. Yeah. Um, so I found myself dancing with somebody, and this is the piece. Okay. Uh, Mexicano Antonio. Oh, and I was with my very blonde, very tall, very she presents as kind of, from money. I think her family had money at some point. Her name is Lainey, and she was dancing with Mexicanos, and that was a sight too because she was very much much taller than the guys she was dancing with. Mexicano Antonio tugged on his crampons and proceeded up the lanky Laney, my tall gringa friend, so blonde and elevated, dancing tight revolutions while the pool ball vaqueros squeezed out another side pocket hit in tight-fitting leather jackets and crusty nightclub shoes. And I refuted the wound-up boys swooping at me like earnest wine porters or Tampico-bound Canadian geese, begging their unanswerable questions. ¿Quieres bailar? ¿Tienes esposo? Until I could say yes, I said nothing, even as the synthesized banda brass tunes worked up my chakras and wore down my resistance to high-speed circle dancing until at last I chose a partner with whom I danced in awkward flow. He squeezed my hand so soft to his heart, to his memory of something that I could never be, of something lost in catalog wear. His western shirt, so thick and rough, a vintage not of my world. He, well cleaned and dry, me, dry cleaned and wry. Men like him are December daguerreotypes, traditional holidays in copper frames, blurred by my urban digital viewpoint and fading as sepia sentiments. Ni modo. All I wished was cumbia merengue footwork and to be early weekend tipsy or to be amused by the Mexicana Mae West, 78 and skin tight dressed in a mini that matched her perfect ruby nails and a well-tested smile, endlessly wondering as she winked our way, "Do you like the drink? It's a strong, strong." And I finally spoke to them who asked, "No, no quiero bailar." Yes, I like the men, but no dance, not tonight.
That's
And
awesome.
I can picture it all.
I know, huh?
And I know Laney well, so
yeah, yeah, Lainey's your friend too. I
we're the
was at,
same height. And we did that dance together, and we were exactly the same height. It's amazing.
it's a experience that I don't know that many people have written or many mujeres have written about. Uh, I felt a
Mhm,
wistfulness. I was wistful that I couldn't be the match for that man. Um,
mhm,
and he was older than me. Um, it just felt unfair.
mhm.
I don't know. It's a very of a tenuous grasp of what it felt. I mean, I know what I felt, but um, kind of the cultural politics of it.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah, I
there's
think it makes total sense. It does. Since we were talking about music a little bit, I came across another piece. Can I read it?
Oh, please. Yeah, let's do that.
Yeah, it goes in line with what you said. I mean, with what you just read, because
Okay.
I think there's something about like what it means, and actually with what Lorraine was talking about, like women of color, like why we have these conversations the way that we do. And I guess who knew 1984 was a foundational year for me in music. But I was like looking at this and I'm like, oh yeah, I forgot I wrote this. This is not in a poem form. It's just like free writing that I did because I'm trying to write something about music and what it's meant to me. So, um, here's this one. And it's weird to read when I can't see your faces. So I'm gonna see if I can do this and just move the screen. Um, So yeah, like I said, free write. I finally understand the lyric to What's Love Got to Do with It. Tina Turner knows love is the thing that can fuck up the delirium of desire. It's the downer, not the high. There has always been something iconic, as far as I have seen it at least, about Tina walking the streets of New York City in that mini skirt and denim jacket. The imagined click of her heels, the color of her lips, and the brassiness of her hair. Brassiness in the best possible way. None of it looks perfect and none of it looks disheveled. For women of color, for baby boomers like my mom in particular, she is an icon in that video. A model of more than a survivor of a bad marriage, but a model for it got even better after the divorce. It's gotten way better as the 40s began to turn to the 50s. Your 20s and all that comes with it are far behind. What woman in her 30s, just out of a marriage that never felt right, wouldn't love that? Wouldn't love looking forward to an even better set of years than the ones we've been told our whole lives were the best? Your 20s are gone. The best is over. But no, not according to this song and not according to the video. The best is just barely getting here. There is so much left to enjoy. Past Ike, or whatever fill in the blank husband took her as his wife or as his woman for granted. Way past that, there is something even better. Yourself, perhaps. That being said, did I ever think I would be older than Tina was in that video? Nah, not really. Not because I thought I would be dead, but because as a third grader, I couldn't fathom that age. I couldn't fathom that city. I couldn't fathom walking alone. And now, well, now I'm 48, and now I'm in a never been married situation. And I learned I can do a lot and deal with a lot, but have no desire to marry anyone I don't trust completely. And I've obviously trusted no one kind of situation. So,
Wow. That's
yeah,
introspective and
that
very
video is iconic.
you're sharing it out, like putting it all out there. That song is
Yeah.
iconic. Is that what you said? The song is iconic?
Yeah,
I'm
that
sure.
song and that video is iconic. I love that video.
Mhm.
She's so great in that video.
Um, the other day, I've been thinking about context of music, and the other day, I celebrated 25 years of working at my same job at the library, and
Wow.
which also kind of goes along with me being back in this city for 25 years, and I never thought I'd stay here. Um, I never thought I'd stay here this long. So anyway, some friends and a couple of supervisors from my job showed up, and Jeffrey was there. Um, so it's an in-person deal at a really cool laid back bar called Grandma's. And my friend Greg rolled up a little later, and he's a question asker, and he asks very open-ended questions. And so he's always learning because he's always asked, and he's a high school English teacher. Um, but he wanted to know, hey, because they were playing 80s music on the Spotify in that bar. So we are hearing all the classic 80s hits, I guess, which was fine. They're mostly pleasant to me. Um, so we were listening to music and making comments on the songs coming up. And then out of the blue, he started asking, hey, you ever heard of this musician, Morrissey? And I'm like, oh my God, Greg, you never heard of Morrissey. How do I tell you? Like, well, and I'm like, yeah, yeah, you've never heard it. He goes, no, no. So what? You've heard of him? What's that like? And I'm like, oh, Greg. And he asked like about two other musicians that it was equally the same kind of thing. Like you had to have been like it's a mood, Greg. It is a mood. It is a movement. It's a cultural phenomenon. And so I tried to, not say too much, but I'm like, oh man, it's everything from like I don't know, could you say, pro-labor and anti-establishment, but also queerish, and
Mhm.
uh, brown people in LA love him, like adore him. And I'm like, how can, like, I'm like collapsing all of these cultural phenomena for somebody sitting in the armchair right here in this bar who's like a year older than me and kind of missed Morrissey. And I'm like, yeah, you can listen to the music, man, but it's more than the music. And okay, that moment happened. But then I started thinking about music I appreciate, and but I don't get it. Like, how could I get Sly and the Family Stone?
Hmm.
Because I was not a black young adult like in that band, or
Right.
listening to that band when that music came out. I was listening to it in the back seat of a blue Chevy Impala in 1968 when I was 6. And I loved it, and I
Hmm.
felt things that are very real, and I feel them again when I hear the songs. It's not kind of nostalgic, but it's not the context that other people would have who, okay, where were they? Detroit, Oakland, I don't know where they were.
Hmm.
So
I don't
I,
either.
I
Yeah.
don't even know. So like, see, I was not part of the cultural phenom of that band coming up and the concerts and all the, radical culture shifts they helped push along. But it's okay. It's okay. I had my attachment to the song because I was listening to it when it first came out, but it's not the same as what Black people or African Americans or Black Americans felt and, thought about.
Hmm.
And that's important for me to have said to myself, I think.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
I mean, when I went to college, to put it into context, from 1968 to 72, I my I lived in a fraternity house for a couple of years, this particular fraternity house always had soul music bands play, on weekends. And I don't know if you ever saw Animal House.
Uh-huh.
In
Yeah.
in Animal House, these frat boys go on a road trip and they see that this soul musician is playing at this club, and they say, we got to stop in. He loves us, And they go in, and it's all black people, and they're the only white faces in the place, and they're encountering their person who comes and plays soul music at their fraternity house while they
In that
go.
context. Uh-huh.
Yeah, and that the whole I found out that the movie Animal House was based on a series of short stories that were published in Playboy magazine by a person who had actually been a member of my fraternity at Dartmouth College. And
Wow.
so my fraternity, the reason they played soul music weekends is it was this tradition. And that was shown in the movie Animal House. But anyway, long story, but
That's a good story.
Yeah. I'm curious about how good those short stories were. Were they literary? Were they just little
well, it
I
was like if you saw the movie Animal House, some of the events, the little vignettes of these events that happened in the movie were all short stories originally.
Hmm.
And the different, and those stories were still sort of alive. I mean, people would tell these stories about what had happened back in the 50s, at this particular place. So, but that misunderstanding, I grew up on Long Island, New York, and um, the the radio stations that I listened to was all Motown, music. Um, so I mean, I grew up in my formative years. I mean, then that was, and then the Beatles hit and kind of took over. Not we had the British invasion happened, but because I didn't listen to much of the pop music before then.
Mhm.
Which since I'm dating myself so effectively here, next next the next uh, time we meet in February is actually on my 75th birthday.
Oh,
Oh, nice.
I will be 75 on February 15th, which is uh, the next time this group is scheduled to meet, I believe.
That's a week after I turned 49.
oh,
A fellow Aquarian.
Yep, my birthday is February 7th. It's the last year of my 40s. I'm tripping out.
Maybe next month it should be Recordando the Age of Aquarius.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
we're also gonna have like a new presidential administration in place, so I'm trying to not talk too much about all that. I mean, we're all experienced folks. We know we I want to, I can't say we know the drill because it's more than a drill, but been there, done that. I know we're all individually preparing how we want to prepare. So I'm
it's funny. I I, I, have a lot of friends in Chicago, and, uh, I have a lot of friends in Chicago, and, uh, I have a lot of friends in Chicago, and, uh, I have a lot of friends in Chicago, and, uh, I have a lot of friends in Chicago, and, uh, I have a lot of friends in Chicago, and, uh, I have a lot of friends in Chicago, and, uh, I have a lot of friends in Chicago, and, uh, I have a lot of friends in Chicago, and, uh, I have a lot of friends in Chicago, and, uh, I have a lot of friends in Chicago, and, uh, I have a lot of friends in Chicago, and, uh, I have a lot of friends in Chicago, and, uh, I have a lot of friends in Chicago, and, uh, I have a lot of friends in Chicago, and, uh, I have a lot of friends in Chicago, and, uh, I have a lot of friends in Chicago, and, uh, I have a lot of friends in Chicago, and, uh, I have a lot of friends in Chicago, and, uh, I have a lot of friends in Chicago, and, uh, I have a lot of friends in Chicago, and, uh, I have a lot of friends in Chicago, and, uh, I have a lot of friends they had listened to the guy that Trump is appointing as the head of
Everything.
the deportations.
That Miller dude.
No,
Homeland
no,
Security or the Border Patrol or
yeah, Hansen or something like that. The guy's name, but they just announced that the day after the inauguration, Tuesday, they're going to start the deportations in Chicago. And he had actually announced that they were going to do it in Chicago first, in Chicago, um, earlier this summer. Not this summer, right after the election, when he first found out he was going to be appointed. So uh, so my friends in Chicago were prepared in advance to know that that's going to be the first actions of the new administration that they had to respond to and put themselves out on the streets for. Um, so
One
it's
thought that I had with all of this, want to say saber rattling, but it's not quite right. And was they've been also talking about doing away with birthright citizenship and stripping everybody of who's got birthright citizenship of that. And there are a surprising number of heads of states of other countries who have birthright citizenship, US citizenship.
Hmm.
And I wonder how that's going to affect politics in some other countries.
Hmm.
The threat of removing your citizenship if you don't allow the US to do X, Y, and Z.
Wow.
they'd have to repeal that amendment, which I don't see happening. I just I can't see Congress accomplishing anything like that, since they can't accomplish anything.
Both houses are in the hands of the Republicans right now. So maybe the infighting is so great that it will prevent.
Yeah, they need 2/3 vote in order to propose an amendment, uh, which is what they have to do. But yeah, it's who knows what's going to happen. We'll
I wonder why Chicago. That's strange to me.
Yeah.
well, I mean,
Because it's in a blue state.
right.
Blue city in a blue state, and how many times have they brought up about the murder rate in Chicago, just like the murder rate in Baltimore, and that both cities are horribly run by Democrats and that they're run down and dirty and full of rats and roaches and blah 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 blah.
Well,
Yeah.
there's a huge Puerto Rican population in Chicago, so
Huge Mexican too.
well, that's not where I'm going, Lorraine. Where I'm going is Puerto Ricans are US citizens.
Mm-hmm.
So what the hell, how are they going to parse that in terms of who gets
Mhm.
deported and who doesn't? At first glance, if they're going on looks, people of color,
Well,
brown skin, and yeah, that's really concerning.
born in East LA, brought to real life.
What's that?
Born in East LA, brought into real life.
Yeah. Ay, ay, ay.
Yeah.
I think I'm going to bow out, folks. I'm an hour, at least an hour ahead of some of you.
It's 8:40 here in New Mexico, so
Thank you, Lorraine, for sharing all you shared. And I I might have also thought of you as a woman of color, so I apologize for assuming and
No, there's
not
no
asking.
there's no insult in considering me a person of color. I just find it humorous that people.
Jump to that conclusion without confirming.
Yeah, it's like in the 80s, there was some rumor going around that I was a Salvadoran refugee.
hmm,
That's pretty
So,
specific.
I
Wow.
know.
yeah, that I was, had fled from the death squads. So that, yeah, I'm a person without, without anything.
Well, someone wondered if I was one of the dancers from In Living Color, so that's very specific.
That's awesome.
and and then knowing that J-Lo was a dancer, I'm like, no, no, I do not resemble that person or their personality. um,
Rosie Pettis? No, Rosie Pettis was a Fly
oh,
Girl.
oh, okay. Yeah, I need to look up reruns of that one. Um, thank y'all for your time here together. It was an interesting tonight, pacing and flow. But I really loved the conversation. I learned a lot. I'm happy to I'm gonna check out some of these links of works that y'all referred to. Good luck with all your
Yeah.
writing and your aspirations. I love that we're talking about work, like you, Patricia, is specifically saying, you're moving towards something new, and that's an exciting place to be in.
Yeah, I wanted to tell you, I'm gonna send you or email you my phone number because I would love for just to have, since I'm not gonna be on social media, so we can just stay connected in other ways. And feel free to share it with whoever wants it, please. Um,
Great. I'm
so that,
gonna stop the recording, and then I have just a few more things to say. Thank you all for tuning in, and we'll see you next month.